Let's start by demoing one of the more difficult riffs I've learned recently via metronome. Fucking totally lost it. Anyway, you get the point. First of all, on that little pull-off move there, it's kind of hard to do acoustic. You need, to get the volume off the hammer on the pull-offs, you almost need to be plugged in. But, you know, contra, it starts off, you know, and that beginning riff, everybody's hitting it completely consistent. And, I mean, I had to start off that slow. And to do that, you can't really just sit here practicing it on your own. You need something kind of clicking along with you. Anyway, so it's great for getting, you know, your riffs down, but what really helps in your practice regimen is using it for warm-ups, too. It can apply to damn near anything other than learning theory, memorizing songs. I mean, that's part of learning. Okay, learning some chords, learning a lick or something like that, but anything outside of just memorizing theory or a song and lyrics, you know, if you're learning riffs, this thing should be out, you know. I mean, I use a gypsy jazz warm-up a lot to kind of get my fingers moving. You get the point, but you want to start slower like that, where you're hitting each note perfectly. That's the main thing with the metronome. It's really weird because I always push myself to play it faster, and that's why I got so fucking sloppy. And listening to Led Zeppelin and Jimmy Page playing these things out of his head that he couldn't quite keep up with. And he's an amazing guitarist, but he's like all uber sloppy. And although I can blame a lot on my early days of Zeppelin as to why I'm so sloppy with timing, can play like behind the beat and up, you know, ahead of it, etc., which can be tasty sometimes. Anyway, it's not a good habit, you know, to pick up. So it's really nice to, you know, use this anytime. I mean, you're doing a little riff, you know, and you can really use it to zone in on bad habits. You know, I do play some bluegrass, chicken pick, and honky tonk stuff. So, you know, that's pretty basic. But you know, sometimes you can phrase one or two notes in something like that. But once again, just setting up a metronome, starting slow, working up to it. It's the only reason I've been able to keep up with emulator at all. 'Cause a lot of this didn't come naturally. Like, that's fucking red light fever. Anyway, bad example, I should start slower than that, but just for video's sake. Anyway, I love the metronome. Really does help break up your practice regimen a little bit. It seems a little boring at first, but when you start seeing how much more you're improving, like any bit of practice time, you're getting so much more out of it just by having that little click going, you know, while you're doing whatever riff it might be. I first discovered it, there was a Double Dragon 2 riff in the level, was it level 3, the caves, I think. He probably recognized the tune like. It's funny, it's like a 16th after the beat, so you're like, 2, 3, 4, it's like a 13 note walk down. It's kind of hard to do that without, without distortion, being able to kind of run through it, but yeah. And I had to sit there for literally hours just. And just doing it sit like sloppy like that by yourself really doesn't do it, And then, eventually you can pretty much crank it up to speed. Let's see if I can. I'll probably fuck it up. Fuck it up. There it is. Anyway, I thought that was super hard at first, and then I started learning Mega Man and Contra, and it just blew that shit away. So, metronome's great. It works well for everything. It actually makes practice a little more fun once you learn how to incorporate it, and it helps break up your regimen. You sit down and play guitar instead of just racking your brain or having one focus. It's like, okay, I'm going to warm up. What are you going to warm up on? There can be like 50 different warm-up exercises. You can look up on YouTube all day long. You can warm up on a bluegrass lick. You can warm up on, I still like to use, it's boring as shit, oh, it's the major scale, whoop-de-doo. But major scale's a weird pattern for guitar. It's not like keys where it's easy, So I'll sometimes just go through and because it actually gets hard to play through, especially on the top, So sometimes I'll even just stay up top and go back and forth. You can see a million ways you can go with this, but with that metronome on, sounds super fucking boring, but it really just makes that practice feel better. Like if I turn this off and I sit here and play major scale, it just doesn't, especially if I fall off for a second, it just really does, you're improving at like 10%, as if you have this little $20 fucking thing on. I used to hate them, but I'm a huge advocate now. So anyway, just wanted to give a couple pointers on that and just why it is actually fun, and it makes practicing fun because once again, it's not a headache, I used to just have a hard time with my practice regimen, but now it's actually fun as long as I have this little motherfucker right here. When I don't have it, when I have to practice at work without it, really doesn't feel like I'm getting anything done. And on a side note, I absolutely love this fucking guitar, dude. So smooth and buttery. I'm talking like pull-offs and just sustain from here to Cleveland. Anyway, amazing fucking tone. I mean, it's got the country stuff. I guess you can't hear the tone when it's not plugged in, but I love it. Absolutely fucking fell in love with this thing. It's got hella fatty, hard, for like their hardened steel frets. Anyway, just fucking floats, man. If you ever get a chance to play a Parker, check on Craigslist, man. They're even not that expensive. If you want to make a gear purchase, I'd say buy a fucking Parker off eBay in the dark, man. I mean, one that's top-rated seller, definitely worth getting your hands on this thing. You can always resell it if you don't like it. That's all, buddy. Take it easy.